Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos. According to recent reports, Paul Scholes has given his own perception regarding Manchester United, and he actually has give Ole Gunnar Solskjaer now a bit of advice, and he's actually give Ole Gunnar Solskjaer his best starting 11, and he also wants to include Mason Greenwood in the team. And for my overarching view, anywhere, I think Mason Greenwood needs to start playing more on a regular basis. He's still not yet, started a game for Manchester United from the start in the Premier League so far this season and that. But yeah, he's now scored his third senior goal for the football club. Also, Paul Scholes does believe from his own perception that eventually Mason Greenwood will become a better goal scorer than Marcus Rashford. Mason Greenwood is only 18 years of age. He turned 18 years of age last month. At the beginning of last month, he turned 18 years of age. But like I said, by the time Mason Greenwood is 23 or 24 years of age, he will be a world-class centre forward. But, I have been very, very impressed with him. But, giving me overarching view on yesterday's game, I thought it was a very, very good team performance for Manchester United. There was a lot of good individual performances. We showed a lot of tenacity. We also created a lot of chances, especially in the first half. And, we scored three, world-class goals. And, Solskjaer, actually has saluted Rashford, Martial, and Mason Greenwood. But I was very, very impressed, if I'm going to be quite honest with you and analysing it. I think it's the best performance I've seen at Old Trafford for quite some time. But the goals were from Mason Greenwood. Obviously, Rashford had got the assist. Also, Rashford had got his name on the score sheet. It was actually a fortuitous pass from Rashford. It was intended for Juan Mata, but instead it went to Mason Greenwood. But Mason Greenwood, showed some excellent composure, but it was a very, very good finish. I thought Martial's goal was absolutely fantastic. I think he turned two defenders and he slotted it into the back of the net. And Rashford's third goal was very, very good, and also Ashley Young provided the assist for Rashford's third goal. But it actually should have been more than 3-0. But the good news is now we have progressed into knockout. We've progressed into the knockout stages of the Europa League, and like I recently mentioned, I think it's the only route for us of getting into the Champions League is progressing in the Europa League, because obviously, look where we are in the league in the Premier League table. We are sitting at 10th. We are 10 points behind top four. So I've actually fully disregarded the top four. But I did actually say at the start of this season that our expectations this season will be to finish in that top four, and perhaps maybe win some silverware, but more expected to be top four. So obviously, in that aspect, we can't get back into the Champions League. Solskjaer also has challenged Manchester United, now to replicate that attacking form we showed yesterday against Partizan Belgrade on a regular basis, so we can improve our form. So hopefully now Manchester United can start to turn things around. But we know that we've endured a really bad start to this season in the Premier League. We've endured our worst start to a Premier League season for 3 decades. The last time we had as bad a start to a season as this was obviously back in 1989, or was it 1990? And we've only won 3 games out of our opening 11 games in the Premier League so far this season. And obviously this is why Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is under intense pressure at the football club. But the positive is we've done well in the Europa League. We're into the knockouts. We've still 2 games to spare. We've scored 5 goals in the Europa League. We haven't conceded 1 goal, and we're also into the quarterfinals of the Carabao Cup. So obviously that's some positives. But I think recently as well certain players stepped up to the plate. I think Marcus Rashford's rejuvenated himself fantastically well, because obviously for the majority of this season I have been criticising Marcus Rashford because obviously he hasn't performed to the standards as we should expect from him. But I still said during his bad spell, I still said, Rashford, then was the long-term solution for Man United. He's just turned 22 years of age, not too long ago, but quite recently, he has been very, very clinical as Marcus Rashford. But yeah, and he has now scored 53 goals for Manchester United in all competitions, since he broke into the senior squad in 2016. I've also been very, very impressed with Anthony Martial, since he, recovered from injury. He's already scored 3 goals, since he regained full fitness. Martial and Rashford are compatible in some aspects, they can both play in the same positions. They've also scored the same amount of goals at Manchester United, because now Martial has scored 53 goals for the football club in all competitions, since his arrival from Monaco back in 2015, and now Martial is into his 5th season as a Manchester United player. Still hasn't quite emulated that level as yet, but I think he will get to that level, where he does want to be. But he does obviously add more inspiration in that attacking third in the pitch. But he stepped up to the plate. I thought Juan Mata also did very, very well yesterday. Some people believe that he needs to, play more regular in the Premier League, does Juan Mata. Some people believe he doesn't fit that number 10 role. Obviously, he was playing in that number 10 role yesterday, was Mata. Obviously, he can also, play him out on the right. But we've actually got quite a few, players, that can operate in that number 10. You've got Lingard that can play the number 10. Andres Pereira that can obviously, play him in the number 10. But, Solskjaer, actually, made, a lot of alterations in the squad. But obviously, for this season, he's made a lot of alterations in the squad, reflects on the amount of injuries and that we've had. Obviously, for the vast majority of this season, Solskjaer has been going with that 4-2-3-1 formation. But we do know for the vast majority of the season, that formation hasn't been working in that. But obviously, in that 4-game period, we did really, really well. That was obviously prior to the 1-0 defeat to Bournemouth last week. And I thought in the game yesterday, the players, showed a good reacted well, from the 1-0 defeat to Bournemouth. But in that 4-game period, I thought the comeback was on, because we showed a lot of tactical flexibility. I also credited Mulligan and Solskjaer. And I thought, the performances were good. We got a draw against Liverpool. We drew 1-1. We're the only team this season, to take many points from Liverpool in the Premier League. We also put a good performance out against Norwich. I think, analysing it, that's the best performance I've seen this season from Manchester United. Was the Norwich game in the league, that is. But I'd say overall, I'd probably say, yesterday was the best performance, especially the first 45 minutes. And I think that's the first time this season we've scored more than one goal. At Old Trafford, since the opening day of the season against Chelsea. We also did very, very well in the Chelsea game in the Carabao Cup, winning by 2 goals to 1. And then obviously, it was another step, it was two steps forward, 2 steps back, because obviously, we lost to Bournemouth 1-0. But it's good that we rejuvenated ourselves. We got a comfortable victory, yesterday. I didn't expect that, to be quite monitored, but we need to now see it more on a regular basis. But Solskjaer was very, very, impressed there with the performance. Obviously, McTominay also went off injured in the game. I thought again, McTominay had a really, really good game. McTominay's done really, really well for Manchester United this season. He has been a first team regular, but reflects on his performances. He has deserved to keep his place in the team. He's done very, very well. Some people do believe, like I mentioned on my reaction, that just I do agree in some aspects, maybe what they're saying, some aspects of, their game do need to improve them at McTominay's and Fred's. But we've seen, glimpses of how good, Fred can be. I thought Fred, I think Fred's done really, really well recently. He still, in my opinion, needs more time at the football club. He's only been at Manchester United since last summer. I do agree on the aspect that we did overpay for him. We paid just under £50 million him last summer from Shakhtar Donetsk. But we know that Fred and McTominay obviously are two, Galactico midfielders. Possibly, they could emulate into Galactico players though, if they are given their time, that they are currently demanding. But I've been very, very impressed with them recently. Andres Pereira, I thought he had a bad game against Bournemouth, but I think in a couple of games before the Bournemouth game, he really stepped up to the plate. Andres Pereira this season has been obviously operating in that playmaker's role. He's played around 8 or 9 games so far this season, Andres Pereira, so he has played, quite regularly. So hopefully now, we can, continue this, and hopefully we can beat Brighton on Sunday. That's a game, obviously, where Manchester United, should win. Then, obviously, after Brighton, it is the international break after the Brighton game. It is Sheffield United after the international break. We have still got quite a lot of injuries. Still obviously some players have come back from injury, but still some players are now out. But after the international break, Solskjaer did confirm that he expects more players to be back from injury. But Solskjaer confirmed that two Wednesday matches and Shaw will be back after the international break. Paul Pogba is not expected back until December, as Solskjaer confirmed. Obviously, Paul Pogba's ongoing ankle injury has been surrounding him, obviously, for a matter of weeks. And, Paul Pogba, has been a big miss in that midfield and that. But Solskjaer did confirm, didn't he, not too long ago, that, Fred will fulfill Paul Pogba's position for a while. Obviously, Eric Bailly's still out until the end of the year. Also, Fosu Mensah is still out of injury. Luke Shaw's obviously out of a hamstring injury. We've still got Diego Dalot out. He's actually sustained quite a few injuries this season as Dalot. But I think it's unknown, when he will be back in contention. Also to Lindelof, obviously Lindelof's out with injury. This is why he wasn't involved in the game yesterday. I don't know how severe his injury is. Hopefully he can be back for the game against Brighton on Sunday. But actually, prior to the game against Partizan Belgrade, 6 players anywhere were absent from training. Angel Gomez was one of those players because he's also sustained a knock. So we've actually sustained quite a lot of injuries this season. But obviously, Ashley Young, obviously, throughout the press conference prior to the Partizan Belgrade game, he come out with a few interesting, quotes. And this is from his own perception. He still insists that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is the right manager for Manchester United. He actually, during the press conference, he actually compared Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to Sir Alex Ferguson, and he actually believes that Solskjaer has revived Alex Ferguson's spirit at Manchester United. So this is coming from Ashley Young's perception. This is what he does believe. Obviously, again, Ashley Young had currently played yesterday. But so I was very, very happy, with the performance and that. And, like I said, we still got 2 games left in the Europa League. But like I said, our league form has definitely got to improve. We've got to start winning games in the league because, we're in a position, that we shouldn't be in. But like I did take into account at the start of this season that despite the 3 signings that were recommended into the football club during the summer, I still expected us, not to win the league or mount any kind of title challenge up, because you can arguably say that analysing our squad at the moment, it isn't good enough to win the league. If we are to get the right calibre players to Manchester United next year, and our recruitment is to improve in that, then I think we can be a future title contenders. Reflecting on the win yesterday against Partizan Belgrade, it does, like I said, it doesn't change my perception on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I still insist he's not the long term future for Manchester United. Maybe it's probably beneficial to keep him for this present time. Obviously, because if we were to get rid of him before Christmas, or right now, then I don't think it would solve a lot of their problems at the football club. But like I said, if we are to be back, to where we want to be, I think we've got to see a variety of changes at the football club. And I think, the coaching staff aren't good enough here. I don't think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is good enough. I still think, there's actually players here now that are no longer good enough to represent Man United. So I do believe that these 2 more players that do need to leave. Despite the fact that a lot of players have left since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's arrival. So I do believe next year we need to consider getting rid of around 5 more players. But from my own perception, I think we need at least 5 to 6 more signings if we are to be back to being a competitive elite level football club. But I did say, it's going to be hard for us to attract players to elite level, if we do continue this bad run of form in the Premier League, and especially with us not being in Champions League football, that also, does go against us as well, take that into account, because you can quite frankly say at the moment, we are facing a relegation battle, because we're 10th, we're sitting just 4 points above relegation. Disregard getting relegated, because that's obviously not going to happen. Like I mentioned, the club's too big. There's too much money and that into the football club, so that will definitely not happen. I can assure that. But I did expect at the start of this season, for us to enjoy a better season this season than what we saw last season, because last season was a huge disappointment. Finished sixth. Obviously, failed to qualify for the Champions League. And, I still think there's some aspects of his game now that still definitely need to improve. Fair play, we did everything yesterday, that we needed to do, which was obviously, very, very good. We created a lot of chances in that. But obviously, for the vast majority of this season, prior to the odd couple of games, this season we've been struggling here to create chances, and that's been an element of concern. And this is probably, this is the explanation why, we haven't been scoring enough goals, basically. And in that aspect, it does replicate, last season. But, there's actually some games this season where you can pinpoint out where we've actually, dominated, we've created chances, but we just haven't, been ruthless enough in front of goals. So that's obviously, an element of concern. But, the games that we've lost in the league this season, we've obviously lost 4 games in the league. We've lost 4 games out of 11 so far in the league this season, and we shouldn't have lost many of them games. We lost to bad opposition. We lost to low opposition. We lost to Palace at home. That's a game Man United should not have lost. First time lost to them in Premier League history. Then we lost to West Ham away 2-0. Another game we shouldn't have lost. We lost to Newcastle 1-0 before the international break. Shouldn't have lost. And we also lost to Bournemouth 1-0 last week. And that's also another game we shouldn't have lost. And obviously there's a couple of games where we've drawn this season where we should have arguably won. I think we should have won at Wolves. We should have arguably, won at Southampton away. So obviously, these certain games have cost us points. If we'd have got victories in them games, you could still obviously say, we would be, in there for that top 4. There's still a chance we can get in the top 4, but I just think, it's going to be extremely difficult for us, to do that. But as I recently updated you as well, obviously, Ed Woodward has got the same perception as Solskjaer. Like I said, Solskjaer still insists he's the right manager to elevate Man United forward. Obviously, Ed Woodward recently gave his sack verdict on Solskjaer, and Ed Woodward has actually assured that his job is safe at the football club. And, I did say, due to our inconsistency anywhere for the vast majority of this season, I did say everyone, is to blame. But from my own perception, I think the vast majority of the blame stems from the board, because obviously, the board, the board, have been a liability for several years, with their poor recruitment and their poor selection of managers. They also didn't back Ole Gunnar Solskjaer enough, during the course of the summer, as they did actually ashore. So I do believe we need to get rid of our current board, and we need to recommend a new board in. I think also a lot of the blame stems from Ed Woodward. So he basically, replicates the board, does Ed Woodward, because he's been a liability for several years, and he's definitely not reliable, to oversee our transfer business. Definitely, Solskjaer's accountable for some of our bad performances and bad results this season, because I did say for the vast majority of this season, he has been tactically naive, and some of his substitutions have been questionable. Obviously, certain players are to blame. So, like I said, it's basically a mixture. Basically, I just want to add that into account. But I do probably believe that Solskjaer will still be here by January, and I think obviously he's been assured he will be given money to spend in January. I do believe the club will be orchestrating on spending another substantial amount in the next couple of windows, because obviously we know a massive rebuild is needed at the football club. An estimated guess, I think we'll be looking to spend from £200 to £300 million on recruiting new players in the next couple of windows. But yeah, and I think Solskjaer's actually pessimistic about signings in January, probably because our inconsistency. But I think we're looking to sign at least one player in January. We may sign 2 players in January, but I do believe we'll do the vast majority of our transfer business next summer. I think we'll look to address some of the problematic areas in January, because obviously we didn't address all the problematic areas during the summer. We did address some of the problematic areas, didn't we? We obviously got that experienced centre-half in. We also got that right-back in, but, we didn't address all the problematic areas. But I did say it was going to be extremely difficult for us anywhere to address all the problematic areas. But I said, there's still deficiencies, I can assure, that's still in the squad. We definitely, next year need to recruit at least one midfielder in. Maybe we need a couple of midfielders, but we definitely need to recruit a replacement for Ander Herrera. You could arguably say that's one of the mistakes Manchester United made, was getting rid of Ander Herrera. Because I think Ander Herrera, you could say, was one of our best players since the Alex Ferguson era. Herrera served 5 years at Man United, and I think he enjoyed a good 3.5, 4 years out of the 5 years he was here. But yeah, we need to get a couple of midfielders in, because I do believe we're missing a creative impetus in that midfield. We also definitely need at least one striker, maybe even two. We need to add more experience in that attacking line. But, we need someone to come in who can be more effective in the box, someone who can assure us goals. We need, obviously, someone with a proven pedigree, and we need to recruit a replacement for Romelu Lukaku, because I've got to be quite honest with you, since the departures of Romelu Lukaku and Alexis Sanchez, we look very, very exposed in that attacking line. Don't get me wrong, reflecting on Rashford's recent form and Martial's recent form, obviously, they've added a bit more inspiration in that attacking third pitch. So, like I mentioned. But yeah, there is a lot of players on our agenda, who we could go in for, next year. I still believe Solskjaer is keen on continuing the policy of recruiting young British players, like he did do during the course of the summer. But I've already given you the players that's on our agenda. Solskjaer has got around 5 transfer targets he's interested in recommending in to the football club next year. But you can still, quite frankly, say anywhere Solskjaer is still in the process of rebuilding this Manchester United team, because obviously, analysing the majority of this team isn't Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's. The vast majority of this team is Jose Mourinho's, because obviously Jose Mourinho recommended 11 players in. Now Solskjaer's still inheriting the vast majority of them. There's still players even from the Van Gaal era. Don't forget there's still Matter even from the David Moyes era. And there's still a couple of players here from the Alex Ferguson era. So I also want to take that into account. I think, Solskjaer, is, compatible to, Alex Ferguson in that aspect, of obviously recruiting young British players, because obviously, Ferguson, did develop a lot of young players. But yes, and like I said, but for my own perception, I think, the players that do need to leave Manchester United, next year. I think Matic is definitely, one of the problematic players. He's initially lost his place in the team anywhere, due to his inconsistency. And he isn't getting any younger now, Matic. He is 31 years of age. He's proven in the Premier League. Obviously, he's into his 3rd season now as a Man United player. But analysing the majority of his 3 years, he has been very, very inconsistent. He's too slow, too easily predictable in that midfield. So we do definitely need to get rid of him. It'd be beneficial to cash in for him in January, because if we let him go at the end of the season, he'll have to go on a free, because his current contract expires at the end of the season. I will agree again. Man United overpaid for Matic. We paid around £40 million for him. Some people are saying Jesse Lingard is a problematic player. From my perception on Jesse Lingard is that I still say he's a long-term solution for Man United, because, we have seen glimpses of how good, he can be. But he's enjoyed a really, difficult time this season. He's been really, really poor. And like I mentioned, reflect on his status at the football club. He should be putting much more better performances out, should Lingard. So I have been extremely disappointed with him. Definitely, Ashley Young is one of the problematic players, and I don't understand, why Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, keeps selecting Ashley Young, and he's been playing on a regular basis this season, surprisingly. If it's something, I don't know, it might be something to do with the injuries we've got. So maybe Solskjaer believes there's no other alternative but to go with Ashley, I don't know. But he's past his sell-by date as young, he's now, 34? I think he's 35 next year. And you can say he's not got long left now anyway in his footballing career. So I think he should leave at the end of the season anywhere. But Young's been a long-serving player at the football club. He's been at Man United 8 years. He's now into his 9th season at the football club. But obviously now Wan-Bissaka is our first choice right back and that, and a lot of people believe that Wan-Bissaka has been our most consistent signing, and I actually will agree on that aspect. And if Wan-Bissaka keeps his good performances up, I think his valuation will persistently grow. Don't forget Bissaka, only made his senior debut back in February 2018 for Palace, but now since he arrived at Man United, he's replicating what he did with Crystal Palace last season. But I do believe that Wan-Bissaka can be our fullback for the next decade, without a shadow of a doubt. And I think Phil Jones, he's another one of the problematic players. I just don't think he's no longer a good enough centre half. Jones has been here more or less the same amount of time as Ashley Young's been here, because Jones has been here 8 years. He's now into his 9th season as a Manchester United player. I think he's endured over 300 other appearances for the football club as Jones. Obviously, he's won everything here domestically. I think it was a mistake for Manchester United last season, giving him a new long-term contract. So, we need to consider getting rid of him next year. Marcus Rojo, some people will believe we need to move him on next year, or maybe sometime in the future. But I think he's going to be staying in January's Rojo, because I think Man United have prevented him, are going to prevent him from leaving in January. I think Solskjaer has revealed the reason why he's blocking his departure in January. But actually, Rojo was subjected to intense speculation during the course of the summer. Obviously Everton had inquired about getting him during the summer. Everton, I think we're close to getting him on deadline day, but they didn't. Obviously, we wanted around £25 million for Rojo. Obviously, Everton weren't willing to pay that, or they couldn't come to an agreement on a fee, both clubs. This is why it didn't happen. Rojo's just got under 2 years left on his contract with Manchester United. I think he's now into his 4th or his 5th season now with the football club. We have seen glimpses of how good he can be. He's predominantly a centre-back, but he can play in various other positions, so his versatility now is really, really good. But I still probably say he needs to be moved on, if it isn't next year, next summer, or at some point in the future. Because, we have still got a lot of centre-halves. We've still got a lot of centre-halves, despite losing Chris Smalling, we've still got 6 centre halves in the team, and that's actually now surprising. That's actually now very, very surprising, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. But yeah, definitely still more players need to lead the football club. But like I said, there's some aspects of me that I do credit Solskjaer. He has got a lot of trustworthy in his young upcoming players. Obviously, the vast majority of the young upcoming players have been given their chances this season, which is good. Like I said, I can actually assure that I think some of the young upcoming players will become a success at Manchester United. So I can assure Mason Greenwood will become a success. I think Tuanzebe will become a success, because I think in the games he's played in this season, he's done really, really well. And Brandon Williams, I know he didn't, play yesterday, Brandon Williams, but I think he's played around 3 games so far for Man United, as Brandon Williams, and he's done really, really well. And he's earning more first-team promotions, and I said he would, if he does keep his consistency up. And he has done really, really well. And a lot of Man United fans do now believe anywhere he's a better solution than Luke Shaw, despite the fact, that Luke Shaw is our first-choice left-back. But fair play to Brandon Williams. He's only 19 years of age, but I think he will he will succeed at Manchester United. Brandon Williams for me was the best player in the game against Chelsea. He was also absolutely fantastic in the game against Bournemouth when he came on in that 10 minutes. Well, he came on in the last 10 minutes. But a very, very good player. James Garner, did actually come on yesterday. Didn't start, but he came on. And he's looked impressive, as James Garner. I haven't really got a perception on him yet. I need to see him play more, for me to have any kind of perception on James Garner. But I said he did really, really well on his full debut against Partizan Belgrade, obviously, away from, in the 1-0 game when we beat them away from home. Yeah. But I've got some element of concerns about certain ones, like I mentioned. Maybe I've got some element of concerns about Angel Gomez. He hasn't really played that much this season. I can't remember last time he played. Chong, he's only played a couple of times for the football club this season. I've got element of concerns about him, so I think we need to, consider, loaning him out in January. So if we could, get rid of some of the young upcoming players, or even, loan some of them out next year, that would be a good piece of business from the football club, to be quite honest with you. But I can assure Solskjaer, will stay, at Manchester United for this present time. But I can definitely assure, this is from my perception, he will not see his 3-year contract out at the football club. He won't, and he did sign a 3-year contract, when he had been given the job permanently, don't forget. But you'll still get some people say, Solskjaer, does deserve a bit more time at the club, and that, he hasn't really enjoyed a long tenure yet, has he? He's only been at Manchester United now for around 11 months in total overall, so that's just under a year. He's been permanent manager as Solskjaer, for around 8 months now, and obviously for the vast majority of that 8 months, obviously, it has, Solskjaer has enjoyed a very, very difficult time. He's enjoyed a very, very difficult time. Comparison, to when he, was the interim manager, because everything, went well, when he was the interim manager. The results were good, the performances were good. He got the best out of these group of players, and he exceeded expectations. But since he had got the job permanently, everything has just seems to have all gone wrong. But there's actually no time, for things to be turned around. Like I mentioned, this time, for things to be turned around. But, I haven't really seen much improvements under Solskjaer, prior to when he was the interim manager, than what I saw under Mourinho, Louis van Gaal, and, of course, David Moyes. But like I said, not every manager settles in straight away, and I'll give you a prime example. Look what happened with Ferguson. He didn't win out in his first 4 years in the football club, when he got recommended in from Aberdeen back in 1984, and he was on the verge of getting the sack, but he didn't. And then obviously look what Alex Ferguson went and accomplished and that. But obviously back in the old generation, managers did get the time that they would like. Obviously in this generation, like I said, managers don't get the time, that they would like, and that because obviously, the boards are a lot more ruthless. And, I think, we're only sticking with Solskjaer at this present time anyways, because obviously he's a club legend in that, and in that aspect, the board are soft in their stance. So if he wasn't a club legend, or, if it was another manager, then I think, he could arguably say, they would have been gone by now. But I think Man United did a mistake, by giving him the job. I don't think, we should have ever given Ole Gunnar Solskjaer the job. Like I said, we should have waited until the end of last season, or we should have waited at some point until this season to decide or not, whether to give him the job. But, like I said, my element of concerns I've got about him that, his tactics, he's been tactically naive for the vast majority of this season, like I mentioned earlier. And obviously he hasn't really got that managerial experience, not really to the highest level and that. I know he's at Man United because, and that, but he hasn't really got that managerial experience, and I just don't think he's got any intuitions on how to manage a big football club like Man United and that. And but you just never know. These time, for things to be turned around and that, and yeah, and if we were to sack him anyway, I think it obviously, it'd cost the club a substantial amount. We'd probably have to pay, I don't know how much we'd pay. I don't think we'd have to pay as much as we did, to get rid of Jose Mourinho, but we'd obviously, still have to pay some money to get rid of him. Yeah, and regarding the new director of football, as I've been updating you quite recently, as I did give you my update yesterday, on one of my videos I did, it says that Man United had travelled to Germany, for a meeting with Ralph Rangnick, who's currently head of sport and development at Red Bull. I think he's a former RP Leipzig manager. RP Leipzig manager, isn't he, or something like that? But it's very unlikely he'll come to Manchester United. But there has been a lot of speculation about it going on recently, because we're looking to recommend a director of footballing. It also did say there was there was talks about him possibly, replacing Solskjaer at the football club. So, he's been linked with a couple of roles. So he's linked with the managerial role. He's linked with the technical director's role. If he was to come in, I think it'd be more imminent that I'd get the director's role rather than the management. He is now 61 years of age. He's Ralph Ragnick. We need to get a director to football, and like I assured, that's one of the structural changes that we do need to see at the football club. And I think we need to recommend someone in, who knows the traditions of the club, someone who knows the club inside out, someone who's got the right philosophy, to recruit someone's got the right philosophy for the club, to recruit the right players into Manchester United. And that, obviously, there was speculation about Edwin van der Sar, obviously, a couple of weeks ago. During this summer, the likes of Ferdinand, Darren Fletcher, and Patrice Evra, where we're linked with a role. And you could arguably say if we'd got that, that director of football in during the summer, then maybe in that aspect, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer would have been backed more. So you can also, add that into the equation. But Ed Woodward is still keen on recruiting a new director of football in. Though, as I've been updating you recently, obviously, there has been a list of managers on our agenda, who could replace Solskjaer at the football club, like I've been updating you regularly. Obviously, we do know there's been a lot of talks about, Max Allegri. There's obviously, there's been other managers mentioned. I think Pochettino's been mentioned and that. But, if Solskjaer was to be sacked, who do you think, would be the right candidate for Manchester United now? Max Allegri, is actually linked with a few jobs. He's linked with the Arsenal job because obviously Unai Emery is under pressure with Arsenal. He's also, linked with a vacant managerial role at Bayern Munich because Bayern Munich are looking for a replacement for Niko Kovac because he'd recently been sacked. And he's linked with a Man United job, is Max Allegri. He's obviously, managerless at the moment. He's only been managerless since the end of last season as Max Allegri. Because he resigned as Juventus manager and he had around a 5-year tenure with Juventus. Won the vast majority of his silverware there. Progressed them to 2 Champions League finals. And he's actually so far spent the entirety of his managerial career in Italy. He's been managing for around 16 years or just over. But I think he's been recently learning English in preparation for his potential move anywhere. But, Max Allegri quite a few weeks back, I think it was actually during the international break, the last international break that was, he was in discussions with Manchester United, regarding what salary, he would earn if he was to, take the mantle on at the club. Also, he wanted to recommend Patrice Evra as one of his coaching staff. He wanted to bring a couple of players in as well. He wanted to bring Mario Mandzukic and Emre Can with him to the football club. But do you think he would be the right candidate for Manchester United? And that is the question. Obviously, he's emulated himself up over the years because he started managing small various Italian clubs. Then, like I've just said, worked himself up. But he's obviously, definitely one of the managers on our agenda. I think it confirmed at one point he was our primary candidate to replace Solskjaer. Pochettino, don't forget, we went in for Pochettino after the sacking of Jose Mourinho. We went in for Mauricio Pochettino. He was actually our top priority at that point, but Pochettino was reluctant to leave Tottenham, basically. At that point, and like added into the equation, Daniel Levy is a hard negotiator. When it comes to any teams try to recruit their players or their manager or whatever, he's really a hard negotiator and he's harder to persuade in a way. But I think but you got Pochettino now anywhere that's under intense pressure at Tottenham because Tottenham have enjoyed a bad start to the season. But Pochettino, do you think he'd be the right candidate for Man United? Obviously, he's well Premier League proven. The element of concern I've got about him is that he hasn't won out in terms of silverware. He's enjoyed 5 years with Tottenham. He's now into his 6th season with Tottenham. Obviously, before he was at Tottenham, he had you know, a short spell with Southampton where he actually did quite well. And before that, you know, when he was at Espanyol. Pochettino has got a long contract with Tottenham because he signed a 5-year contract, I think, in the summer of 2018 with around 8.5 million a year. But he's good at developing young players. But our preference was just Solskjaer after the sacking of Jose Mourinho, because obviously we saw it as Solskjaer was a cheaper solution. Solskjaer knows the culture and that of the football club, so this is probably the couple of reasons why, you know, we chose Solskjaer. But you know, Solskjaer will definitely stay at the football club for now. I can definitely assure, but definitely won't see him out his 3-year contract. But I think the club have put him in a very, very difficult position, and you know, in a way, I do feel sorry for him for that. And I don't need to update you, you know, the players that Man United are linked with, because I've already, you know, mentioned that on my recent videos, as you all know. But like I said, Solskjaer is our 4th permanent manager, you know, since the Alex Ferguson era. And like I mentioned, we haven't got the structure to keep sacking managers. You know, we're not really known for the sacking club, you know, despite the fact that 3 managers have already been sacked since the Alex Ferguson era. You know, David Moyes obviously, you know, left after 10 months. You know, Van Gaal left just after a year and a half, and despite the fact he won the FA Cup. And Mourinho got sacked after he endured a 2.5-year tenure at the football club. So, yeah, and there's nothing much really more to say, guys. And like I said, Man United Brighton preview should be coming up today. If not today, it will be tomorrow, but it's probably very, very probable it will be today. Well, it'll be later on, maybe this evening, to be quite honest with you. Give you a bit of the team news and that, you know, building up to the game. Obviously, Solskjaer, I do presume, will do his press conference tomorrow. So, like I mentioned, I'll interpret some of the stuff, you know, he does mention when he's done his press conference, like we always do on this channel. But yeah, it should be an easy 3 points for Man United on Sunday. Brighton are 8th in the league, by the way. I think they're on 15 points, so they're 2 points ahead of us at the moment. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.